Campus officers Daniels and Maguire had targeted students for months with aggressive searches and intimidation tactics. When they stopped a quiet freshman, Emma Albert, at a checkpoint one evening, she complied silently until they demanded she lift her skirt. Officer Daniels impatiently grabbed the fabric, tearing it with unnecessary force. 3 days later, the officers walked into their superior's office and stopped dead in their tracks. Riverdale University stood proudly as one of the nation's top academic institutions. With ivy-covered buildings and state-of-the-art facilities, it attracted students from across the country. But beneath the prestigious exterior, something unsettling was happening. Whispers circulated about certain campus police officers who took their authority too far, particularly with female students. The rumors persisted semester after semester. Stories of aggressive searches, inappropriate comments, and intimidating behavior spread through dorm rooms and study halls. Despite numerous student complaints, nothing ever seemed to change. Emma Albert arrived as just another freshman, finding her way through her first semester. Quiet and studious, she kept mostly to herself, her gentle demeanor making her seem almost invisible in the bustling campus. She spoke softly when addressed and often kept her eyes downcast. Her roommates worried that her shy nature might make her vulnerable in the competitive university setting. Most days, Emma could be found in the library or hurrying between classes with her backpack clutched tightly. But she had made a few Riverdale University's dark secret friends, including her outspoken roommate, Tasha, who had taken Emma under her wing and invited her to join the debate club. One Thursday evening, Emma and her friends were returning from debate practice. The campus was quiet as darkness fell. Their laughter echoed across the quad until the flashing lights of a campus police car brought them to a halt. 2 officers stepped out, Daniels and Maguire. They were well-known figures around campus, though not for positive reasons. Officer Daniels was tall with a perpetual scowl, while Officer Maguire made up for his shorter stature with an aggressive stance that intimidated most students. They informed the group that they were conducting a routine checkpoint for prohibited items. The officers ordered the students to empty their bags on the patrol car hood. Emma complied immediately, carefully placing her belongings on the cold metal surface. Her hands trembled slightly as she followed their instructions without question. When Tasha hesitated, asking why they needed to go through her personal photos, Officer Daniels grabbed her wrist, applying just enough pressure to make her wooze. His face came within inches of hers as he questioned whether she was challenging his authority. The message was clear: comply or face consequences. Emma watched with wide eyes, her face pale with fear. She observed how quickly Tasha backed down, apologizing and handing over her phone. The officers eventually let them go with a warning about curfew violations, though the checkpoint incident, was still 2 hours away. Back at their dormitory, the girls gathered in Emma's room, still shaken. Tasha paced back and forth, explaining this wasn't the first time these officers had targeted students. She told Emma about other incidents, how Daniels and Maguire seemed to patrol areas where female students gathered, how they conducted searches that felt more like harassment, and how complaints mysteriously disappeared. Emma listened silently, absorbing every detail as fear settled in her stomach. Days passed, and Emma became more withdrawn. She started taking different routes to class, her eyes constantly scanning for the patrol car. She noticed how other students did the same, changing their behavior, traveling in groups, and texting warnings when the officers were spotted. It was an unspoken system of protection that shouldn't have been necessary. 2 weeks after the checkpoint incident, Emma was walking back from the library alone. The evening had grown dark faster than expected. Emma quickened her pace, clutching her books tightly. The sound of an engine approaching made her freeze. A patrol car pulled alongside her, and her heart sank when Officers Daniels and Maguire stepped out. Officer Maguire demanded a bag check without explanation. There was no one else around. No witnesses to whatever might happen next. Emma silently handed over her backpack, which they emptied onto their car hood without care. After finding nothing of interest, Officer Daniels took her phone, scrolling through her messages, and the night everything changed. Photos without permission. The officers exchanged glances, and something in their demeanor shifted. Officer Maguire stepped closer, invading her personal space, as he'd announced they needed to conduct a more thorough search. His eyes travelled down her body in a way that made Emma's skin crawl. Then came the demand that would change everything. He ordered her to lift her skirt. Emma stood perfectly still, her face betraying no emotion beyond the expected fear. In a voice that was soft, but surprisingly steady, she asked if a female officer could perform the search instead, as was her right. This simple request angered both officers. They exchanged irritated glances, clearly not accustomed to having their authority questioned by someone as seemingly meek as Emma. Officer Daniels stepped forward, his posture intimidating as he laid out her options. Comply immediately or be taken to the campus police station. When Emma hesitated, Officer Daniels lost patience. He reached forward and grabbed the hem of her skirt, yanking it upward with unnecessary force. The fabric tore with a sound that seemed to echo in the empty campus night. Finding nothing in their illegal search, they pushed her aside, her belongings still scattered. They got into the patrol car and drove away, leaving Emma alone in the darkness, her torn clothing clutched in trembling hands as tears streamed down her face. For the next 3 days, Emma was barely seen around campus. Her roommates reported she, the revelation and justice, spent most of her time in her room, emerging only for classes. Meanwhile, Officers Daniels and Maguire continued their patrol duties as usual, showing no concern for their actions. They had no reason to believe this incident would be any different from others, just another frightened student too intimidated to report them. 3 days after the incident, Daniels and Maguire received an unexpected summons from Police Commissioner Randall. When they entered the commissioner's office, the sight that greeted them caused them to stop dead in their tracks. Sitting calmly beside the commissioner's desk was the quiet freshman they had harassed days before. Emma looked different somehow, her posture straight, her eyes direct and unwavering as they locked onto the officers. The commissioner gestured for them to sit, his expression grave. What he said next changed everything. He introduced Emma Albert not as a freshman student, but as Officer Emma Albert from the State Internal Affairs Division. The color drained from both officers' faces as the truth hit them. The timid, vulnerable student they had targeted was actually an undercover officer investigating their misconduct. For 6 weeks, Emma had been gathering evidence about the pattern of harassment that had plagued female students for too long. Emma stood, her entire demeanor transformed. Gone was the shy freshman. In her place stood a confident law enforcement professional. She informed them that she had been wearing a body camera during both encounters, including when they tore her clothing during the illegal search. The commissioner played the footage, showing their aggressive behavior, inappropriate comments, and finally the assault when Officer Daniels tore Emma's clothing. The evidence was irrefutable. After years of ignored complaints, the state police had finally launched a covert operation. No one on campus, except a few administrators, had known that the quiet new transfer student was actually a trained officer gathering evidence. Within days, both officers were dismissed and charged with assault and misconduct. Emma's operation had uncovered systemic issues within campus security, leading to a complete overhaul with new training requirements, oversight mechanisms, and a transparent reporting system for student complaints. For the students of Riverdale University, especially those who had suffered in silence, justice had finally been served. The campus felt safer, all because these officers had chosen the wrong helpless freshman to target, someone who had the training, authority, and courage to expose their abuse of power.